Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you again so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at TAO. This is a coin that's been on a lot of people's radars. I've gotten a request for this quite a few times, primarily from our one of our community members here. This is what Reese Monkey Dave, also formerly known as Cosmic Champ. So thank you, sir. Appreciate the request. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here with this coin. We'll jump into the backend data here with liquidation first, but I want to quickly double check, see if there's any key level supports we want to kind of identify here. Because a lot of times when I look at these things, you want to quickly kind of recognize that there are some areas of support, which we can see. We haven't seen a daily candlestick closure roughly between or in the area of about 216 or lower. So 216 is a close approximate of that lowest point we've seen. We kind of double bottomed out, if you will, or it could be the making of a inverse head and shoulders, right? A lot of things we're going to kind of pay attention to, so just important to kind of identify that first. We'll also draw out a trend line here for the more local low to the more recent test there, and we'll go ahead and calibrate that here in a minute. But those are just, again, things I always look at first before I trade. I like to make sure that I understand, kind of the macro trend lines, because they provide a lot of assistance, and it's important to recognize that. So it doesn't look like we have any liquidation data here on High Block Capital for TAO, so we're gonna have to omit doing so at this point. You may be able to look that up on CoinGlass. I'm not sure. I don't subscribe to them, but I can tell you though that at this point here, we can still identify some areas of liquidation based on the charts too. So it's really not that big of a deal to not have access to that. Let's quickly take a look here at the daily and work our way down. And when we look at the daily time frame, folks, the best thing to do first is to identify the moving averages and recognize we're below all four. Okay, so that's generally a bearish sign. Most coins are going to be doing that right now. There's very few coins. Actually, Fetch.ai is one of the coins that I just looked at that coincidentally above majority of its moving averages. So either way you look at it, the point of me telling you that is that with us being below all four, we can presume the price is more likely to be held down than to recover. We can also see here too as well, let's go ahead and tighten this up just a little bit. We can also recognize too that we're under 50 on the RSI, which is generally construed as a bearish sign. Again, most coins are going to be reflecting that right now based on the current market. Overextension, so to speak, on stochastic RSI, MACD diverging. These are all bearish signs. Okay, so these are not signs you want to just kind of buy into, so to speak, because the potential for the price to continue lower is higher. If we take a look at TD sequential, we're coming down to a 5. We came up to a 9 previously. This coin does have a tendency of hitting 9s and reversing itself. So there's a 9 there, there's a 9 here, hit a 9, continued higher. Here's a 9 reversed. So hypothetically, if it continues the same trend, 3 out of 4 of the last 9s on TD sequential have continued in the opposite direction, we're looking at least 4 more days of bearish divergence. Okay, again, it's not an exact science, just something that's a pattern that's repeating itself. That's all. 4-hour time frame. Let's quickly understand this here. In fact, I like to use my trend lines on the 4-hour more specifically as far as drawing them out a little more correctly. So I'm going to tighten that up a little there. If we look at our moving averages here, we can see that we're still below all 4 moving averages, so not the greatest place. Okay. Again, it's easy to say now, of course, hindsight's 20/20, because you look back like a few days ago, it's like, oh, I was at this crossroads. The truth is, though, we're at a point right now where the likelihood of the price going down is still greater. We're expecting the same thing for Bitcoin. It's a holiday weekend. Most coins go down on holiday weekends. It's just kind of a normal thing. So try not to overthink this here. There's a good chance this coin can pivot and recover. If we do take a look here, more local lows, we can see that roughly 260 is that area of interest there. In other words, the price continues lower, we might see some support there, because previously it came down that low and never went any further. Let's quickly draw out our fib levels here. We're just going to go with our more local fibs. We can do macro fibs later if we need to, but at this point we're just going to go ahead and kind of get perspective on how much further it could pull back. This 0.5 fib level is averaging itself out right there at about that 260 mark, 263 to be specific. So if the price does pull back, that once again kind of reinforces itself as a potential support level. So we could see a bounce here soon. Worst case scenario, we lose that level, we travel down to like the 232 to 238 range. Okay, so again, that golden pocket, that 0.618 fib level is a more consistent area of retracement. But once more, we got to give it the chance to kind of bounce here too, because this could be the beginning of a chart play out here, maybe a head and shoulders. It still has one more leg up. I can print out some Elliott wave charts as well here, or just kind of draw some lines out here soon, but I'll post that on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord if it's relevant. Sometimes I don't want to take the time to do that while we're watching the videos, but if you're not familiar, I have that available. Generally, all of my playout charts are going to be available there. So with TAO, a 4-hour time frame, let's quickly summarize here. We're still bearish. There's no really other way around it. We're under 50 on the RSI. To me, being above that's a really good sign. We're not there. Stochastic's also topping out. While MACD's converging, it's still very inaccurate. In other words, don't trust the MACD convergence when you have such a massive pullback. Okay, so we've seen a really strong pullback for the last 5 days straight. It's naturally going to recover. It's like kind of just this, no matter how far you throw something down, it's going to bounce within reason, right? It's that natural bounce. So I wouldn't trust it. MACD convergence, a lot of people put a lot of weight into it. It's a good momentum indicator, but we got to give it a chance to be able to calibrate, right? The price pulled back, give it a moment to see where we're at. If the price doesn't continue to honor this ascending trend line, we break below, that might be a consideration for a short, okay? Because again, the likelihood we have resistance above the price action at that point is greater. 1 hour time frame, let's quickly understand this here too. Ichimoku Cloud, we're still below. This is another reiteration and reaffirmation of essentially of where we're at in the market. Most coins are going to be below the price action here and not looking very strong to the upside. So this in combination with the descending trend, if you kind of look at the descending trend lines, there's really nothing here telling us we're in good shape. If we look at the Ichimoku Cloud, we can confirm we're below the cloud. Lag and span is almost intersecting with the price action, and conversion line are also intersecting too, telling us while we had a little momentous push, that window of opportunity is done. There's no consideration for a long. Hindsight's 2020, should have taken a while ago, but again, that's a tight margin. What's the point? We want to break this descending trend before we can consider a long with confidence. And the descending trend I'm referring to is Bitcoin's descending trend. It's having a very strong amount of resistance there, a lot of difficulty getting across that level. I think it's inevitable for it to become or get above that. We might even get a false positive this weekend, but to me, seeing any kind of confirmation over the weekend gives me very little hope. Okay, not trying to be pessimistic, but at this point, there's no real reason to consider a long position. So again, at this point, not much to really say about this coin. It's not super monumental, I would say, from a macro perspective. An entry consideration at this 0.5 fib or between 260, 263 seems appropriate. Right now, it just seems very early and unadvised, ill-advised, whatever you want to say, to take a long position right now at this point. Okay, we want to be over these SMAs at the very least. My speculation is we're going to break this ascending trend line to the downside here soon if Bitcoin continues lower, and we'll have to recalibrate and maybe consider it more so a short versus a long, depending on that bearish backtest. Okay, again, still too early, but for now, I would say the best trade for this coin is no trade at all. And you're going to hear me probably say that a lot this weekend. And just in general, I'm going to say that because 95% of trading is convincing yourself not to take a trade. What have we done so far? We've convinced ourselves this trade is not worth taking. Okay, don't try to convince yourself to take a trade. That's the wrong approach because, again, you're going to take trades that you don't need to that are higher risk than they should be. Okay. If you're looking for every reason not to take a trade and everything is telling you you should, maybe that's a better cause for consideration, right? Okay, thanks again. Appreciate you watching. Hope you learned something today. Comment below, like, subscribe, and follow if you haven't already. Look forward to seeing the next one. Again, I'll post our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. We'll go from there. Thanks again for your time. See ya.